Hey y'all, how's it going? It's Mia, and today we are discussing She-Hulk episode 3. And my overall verdict so far is I'm enjoying it. I really have no complaints. I just like that it is so kind of quick and easy and fun. It's like with these episodes, you really get in and you get out. So I have nothing to complain about so far. And I don't know, well, okay, the only other thing that I keep thinking about is the fact that I do wish they played up this series being a little more like traditional television versus feeling so cinematic. I think maybe the only thing to come close to that was WandaVision, but that was the whole point, was for it to feel like, you know, a television show from the 50s and the 60s. So and then they switched back to the cinematic mode, kind of what is like the base standard for every MCU series. But I think that She-Hulk would be kind of taken to the nth degree a little better if they had played around with the making it feel like traditional television. I don't know. But another thing that I find interesting that I want to talk about before we get into the plot is kind of the pacing of this series, because I'm like, okay, we have 9, I believe, episodes, and it already feels like as of today we've wrapped up the Emil Blonksy arc. So it took us basically like 2 episodes to kind of dive in and be like, okay, what's going on with the Abomination, and you know, it's not like to me it feels like this is it. Like, we don't need the rest of the season to talk about whatever was happening with Emil Blonksy. We just did it. We did it in 2 episodes. So that's an interesting way to pace the series, and it's kind of reminding me, even though we haven't seen the whole thing, it's reminding me right now of The Sandman. Because without spoilers, Netflix's The Sandman, to me, kind of had what I call, like, it had like 2 major arcs. It's like this, in the beginning it has an arc, and then they take kind of like a little break with a one-off, and then they have another arc. And so with The Sandman, when you've got like 10-ish episodes, it feels kind of weird, because especially for something like Netflix where they release the episodes all at once, you're kind of expecting for the entire series to be about this one specific thing, and then you find out that, oh, we just wrapped this entire arc up in like maybe 4 or 5 episodes. This is not how I expect the season to go, versus something like, I don't know, Stranger Things, where it feels like the entire series is you addressing this one kind of thing, and it spills into the other. But anyway, so I was like, the pacing for The Sandman was weird, because we have multiple arcs in a short season, and it feels like you've kind of got whiplash, because you're moving from, you know, like plot to plot to plot so quick that, and you're binging it, so you're like, whoa, we're just moving really fast here. So it was my wish for The Sandman that it had a weekly release, so that you could adjust to the changing of the overarching plots a little bit easier. So all that to say, like, where are you going with this? All that to say, it feels like She-Hulk is kind of demonstrating this, kind of what I wish for The Sandman, which is like, hey, if you are going to have kind of these multiple little arcs in the season, at least give us a weekly release, so it gives us the chance to pace it out better, so it feels like we're not just moving so quickly. So we shall see. We're only on episode 3. Remains to be seen how the pacing works out. But I don't know. So far, it seems to be effective. But I do want to like briefly address the Abomination thing. I don't think we need like a complete recap of what happened. It was like, this was just so easy. It was so nice. Basically, the Abomination gets granted parole. He gets, you know, he's off. He's a free man, so to speak, right? It's kind of like the entire case was hinged on Wong's confession, so it was nice to see him back. And like I said, it's just nice to have this tiny arc resolved. Like, it didn't contribute to the greater MCU. It doesn't contribute to the multiverse. Like, knowing that the Abomination is no longer going to be in maximum security prison isn't like mind-blowing or anything, but it is just nice to have this like nice little story told. Like, hey, what if we tell you the story about how She-Hulk was the lawyer for Abomination and saved him, so to speak. It's like, that's that, you know. It's kind of like these little micro stories are nice, because it just feels like in the greater MCU we have so many loose ends going through season or phase 4, and you're like, where is this going? And so it's just nice to see a small little story being told with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you're like, well, wow, that was really nice. How sweet. And not only that, but we had a B plot in this episode, which I forgot to mention at the beginning of this, talking about traditional television, because I believe this is the first time we've had like an actual kind of traditional television B plot. And again, I think if we had just stuck with television as we know it, as the structure for this B plot would have felt a little more natural. Not to say I didn't like it. I thought it was quite fun to have a sort of side adventure, right, about this shape-shifting fairy from New Asgard going around pretending to be Megan Thee Stallion. How fun and how crazy is that? So, and again, it's like nothing mind-blowing to the point where it changes the MCU as a whole or as we know it. It was just a fun story to tell, and I mean, at the end of the day, we got a twerking She-Hulk, so I mean, I'm not mad. We all get gifts at the end of the day. And then I guess the more important aspect of this entire episode kind of came towards the end, where She-Hulk, or Jen, was coming home from work, and all of a sudden she gets cornered by these goons. They've got Asgardian, I don't know, weapons or construction gear. I was like, what is that? It didn't really quite look like anything from Wakanda, like vibranium, but Asgardian stuff makes sense. And they attack her, and she's like, oh, I can just go She-Hulk form. Of course, it's going to be so easy. And then at the end, when they retreat and they fall back, we hear this whole thing about, did you get it? And, the boss is going to be mad at them because they didn't get what they wanted. And so I'm assuming the whole point of that attack was to get She-Hulk's blood. I think that's what they were trying to do. Like, it was hard to pierce her skin because she's a Hulk now or something. But the big question, of course, is why are they doing that, and who is their boss? And as far as I'm concerned, the only person of concern would be Titania, who we really have not seen or heard much about at all in this entire series. That's Jamila Jamil's character. She's this influencer. I believe she has superhuman abilities already. I don't know how or why, but apparently her superhuman abilities are not enough to get her the amount of fame that she wants, possibly, because I'm just assuming I'm assuming what's going on here is that Titania sees that Jen Walters is getting all this attention. I mean, she's got rumors, she's got news reports going on about her, about having the Abomination's baby. It's all sorts of crazy and wacky, and so I could see Titania being like, oh, well, that's not fair. Does she have her what was the Good Place accent? I don't know if that's Jamil's real accent, but anyway, that's not fair. I want to be international sensation, and I want to be in the Avengers, or maybe not in the Avengers, but she wants that attention. So she's like, you know what, I just need to make myself a Hulk at this rate. That's the only way that I'm going to get attention, and how else can I get transformed into a Hulk is by getting some of Jen Walters' blood. It's just that easy, just a little drip into your system. So that's something that we could potentially be dealing with for these next couple of episodes, especially because I guess it's come to my understanding that Titania does have, a latent importance in this series, just not the first 3 episodes. So I think it may evolve into that. We shall see. But another thing that was kind of interesting to me was the fact that it's like Jen Walters and Bruce Banner are kind of, in a way, highly coveted now, because all it takes is a bit of their blood to get into your system, that gamma ray, sweet blood, and now you can turn someone else into a Hulk. So I'm like, they've got a valuable asset. They better protect that. And it's something that if the MCU wanted to play with that in the future, they could, just like I said, just go whole planet Hulk, War of the Hulks. No, I don't know. War of the Hulks. I don't know where I'm getting this stuff from, but it's just like if they want to use it, that door is open for entire Hulk army. But let me talk about some of the other things that I like, because this is really just a show to be like, oh, I like this, I like that, I like that, I like that. I loved her fourth wall break in the car, talking about, oh, I know you're excited to see Wong, but guess what? This is my show. So, when it's also funny that we still have at least one more cameo with Charlie Cox, so it's like, Daredevil, so it's like, I know it's your show, but we also love these other characters, so sorry. Another thing, speaking of Wong, talking about erasing people's memories, I had to think about it for a second, because I don't know where this fits on the timeline with No Way Home, but regardless of the fact, in No Way Home, Wong specifically told Strange, hey, yeah, it's taboo, you shouldn't be erasing people's memories. He was like, a saint, would never do that. And then come to find out, Wong admits pretty much in this episode. He's like, oh yeah, I've erased a couple of mines. NBD, so Wong, you little hypocrite, you. And then also, cute little Easter egg was the fact that if you look on Wong's LinkedIn page that they showed on screen, you know, they're like, he's Sorcerer Supreme, the librarian at Carmitage, and Target sales associate for 9 years. So, I mean, while Steven was out being a surgeon, Wong was grinding it out at Target, at your local Target. So I just thought that was cute. We get some Wong backstory. Haven't we been waiting for that for a really long time? And oh, my final thing was the whole in the courtroom scene where the fairy goes, Asgard is not a place, it's a people. How iconic of that. Thor Ragnarok, still a 10 out of 10 movie. Not so much Thor Love and Thunder. So yeah, overall, I'm just loving how lax this show is. And it's a comedy, it's short, it's to the point, and it's kind of like, what more can you ask for, especially during a time where I admit I'm feeling MCU fatigue and I'm feeling kind of overwhelmed. I'm like, this is just enough for me to snack on, to be like, it's good. I don't have to think too much about it. It's enjoyable. It makes me laugh. It entertains me. And at the end of the day, that's that. So I'm gonna end it here, guys. Let me know, leave a comment. Let me know what you enjoyed about this series so far. Oh, I also like how self-aware this was talking about the part where they were like, women becoming a Hulk. How dare they? It's like, they knew. We talked about this in the last episode. They knew this was gonna happen. So I thought it was funny to kind of poke at that silly stuff. But yeah, let me know what you liked in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed this, and if you're into Game of Thrones, please be sure to keep up with my House of the Dragon review series, because that is insanely good. I'm just gonna say it outright. I'm loving House of the Dragon so far, so check that out if you haven't already. Subscribe for more Marvel talk, television reviews, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.